So I thought I needed.
Ladies and gentlemen, warbanders of all ages and keyboard warriors, please be welcome to the Bladecast stream of the WNL7 Week 4 Division A match between House Tully and Unity. I'm Victor, your main commentator as always. Today I'm joined by the veteran of the North American scene, PPK. How's it going, dude?
Excellent. Glad to be streaming again. This is going to be a quality grudge match.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be as you say, quality grudge match. For those who weren't aware or haven't tuned in before to the tournament, these two teams have played together against each other before in Week 2, and it was a marginal victory for Unity, who overcame House Tully 10-7. That was House Tully's first and only defeat to any team, and now they once again meet on the battlefield. As you say, it's going to be a grudge match. Some big names coming out today, PBK. What do you think what's going to be the gist of the game today? How do you see it happening?
From my end, Unity, which is who I'm more familiar with just as far as the past few weeks of this tournament, Sigs has come in extremely strong on Cavalry. He's frankly been carrying their more open-ended maps, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do for them there. Their infantry players I'm not too familiar with, but their gameplay has shown through. So Tully, these guys need no introduction. It's mostly just a bunch of AE players, a few people they've brought into their fold as well from previous tournaments, some adversaries. That's great to see, and I know they're going to bring it. So
yeah, as you say, they are definitely going to bring it. On each side, we have some experienced commanders. Today's commander for House Tully, or caller, if you're from NA, is Azan. He's a veteran. Really no need for an introduction to him. He's commanded a multitude of high-level teams, and he's done an exceptional job. He's really the brains behind a lot of operations. And for Unity, we see Paolo, the French captain, equally as skilled. They both know what they're doing. Do you think there's going to be some crazy tactics coming out, or do you kind of see more traditional setups coming out from these teams?
I think both these teams have the intuition to know how they want to adjust their 2 to 3 archer, or even past that. And that's really the extent of, I think, the crazy things. Unity is, I know, extremely comfortable with their 3 archer setup, and AE can just flex. They know what they can do. LaRue is kind of their captain for the archer squad. He'll let them know what they need to change.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned LaRue, because there are several high-level archers, and I mean several, on both teams. For House Tully, we see LaRue, Razor, OGL, all massive players in their own right. For Unity, we see Maximo, Apollo, and Caius, also 3 very highly skilled archers, and the type of maps that we see today actually probably do favour them. The first map we see coming out is Reveran Village, quite traditionally a mixed map with Nords versus Vaegirs, so Veagir is a very strong archer faction. And then the second map we see coming out today is the quality and very, I'd say, old map that's been in the competitive pool for a long, long time, Sandy Bush, with Vaegirs versus Rhodok. So again, Vaegirs makes an appearance. Do you think factions are going to play a key role in today's decider, or do you think it's just going to be skill?
I do think the factions will come into play here. This Reveran here, this would be my personal preference for understanding how this will flow. Vaegirs will have the dominance here, but Nords are always they have that X factor with jabs. When they pass them out to the infantry, if they can make good use of that, and that's always the X factor. I'll be interested to see that on Sandy Bush. I mean, that's an archaic map. Rhodok's, I always like to say they would have the heavy hand there, but that one will come down to more the skill based. Sandy is always a test of teams, whether or not they're awake that day.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more with especially the infantry as well, which kind of segues on to the next little divulgence here. With House Tully, we see players like Deacon, Error, Scar, Anchor, Gibby. Huge, huge names on that roster. Like we said, basically this is the AE team. If viewers tuned in to our last stream, we saw House Tully made an appearance there, and we mentioned there how it's pretty much an AE team. So their cohesion and chemistry will definitely play a factor, I think. But do you think it will also might be their downfall after maybe not playing together for quite some time? How do you think that's going to affect?
That's a good observation. I know the feeling. It's these guys, especially on the AE side, they're just here to get another title, and it's not about maintenance anymore. It's just about getting the title, and it's they can fall off the end of that spectrum of skill and where they need to kind of keep their skills sharp enough. And the Unity guys want this. They want this really bad. Obviously, past weeks, they already beat this team once. That they know that they can do it again. So. I'd say that particular advantage is in the hands of Unity, but AE can just as easily stay where they are and just have that maintenance level be high, and they'll be able to beat them that way.
Yeah, definitely. And just to quickly move on to the rest of the team rosters before the match kicks off, we see Vernon, Thor, Carney, Lepash, and Seb taking up infantry roles in Unity. It is good to point out, though, that we do have some players that can quite easily and happily flick between classes without actually being too affected skill-wise. We see players like Thor who can easily play Cav and infantry, high-skilled player. He's played for France. He knows what he's doing. Farunian as well, I'd say he's a very high-end Cav, but also I've seen him play infantry with ease, I'd say, but maybe against a team like House Tully, they can't afford to take risks like that, and they just need to stick with their own factions, the classes as well. What do you think?
The rotations from Unity, I think you're right. They're more diverse, but I think it really will come down to how many of these infantry players can swap to Cav if it comes down to rounds being lost based on those kind of differences on the flags. So I think you're definitely right about that.
So as we kind of digest the rest of the tournament as a whole, it's good to point out to viewers who might not be used to, Warband competitively, that 8v8 is the standard, wouldn't you say, PBK? This is how tournaments normally run.
It's definitely become the standard. 8 is right, yeah.
Yeah, and we see WNL is a very high-end tournament. It's been run for several years. The tournament admins, Deacon, Scar, they know what they're doing. Arwen as well, very experienced tournament admins, and they're running it a little bit different this time with divisions, but then they're also going to have a knockout stage. And they're going to have chances for promotion and relegation. So this is actually week 4. This is the last week that's going to be the standard, and then there's going to be chance for promotion and relegation. So the bottom teams of each div will face the top teams of the respective divs that they're surrounded by. Obviously, the Division A won't. Their top 2 teams, which is Unity and House Tully, coincidentally, they won't have to play for promotion because they're in the top. So this is their last one to kind of, just juggle around the positions, and then they'll be playing for relegation and promotion. And so you can all see it in depth on the forum. They're all really listed out, really organized. They know what they're doing. But yeah, just to put into perspective, Unity have played 3 games. They've won all 3 of them. And House Tully have also played 3. They've only won 2 and they've lost 1. And that one, as we mentioned before, that they lost was to Unity. So definitely a grudge match. There's a big element of revenge, I'd say, from House Tully. They really want to prove that they're the better team and arguably the best team in the tournament because they want to take the title at the end of the day.
And the thing is, Tully, most if not all of the players on Tully, they know what this feeling is where they kind of drop around. And by round, I mean a match. They dropped a match to Unity. And if you're Unity, you can't look at it like that because you got to understand that they were trying the entire time. Once they started losing rounds, these guys from AE, they understand the feeling of, okay, it's time to stop effing up, more or less. And this is their match to make it as much of a one-sided game as possible and just bring them right back to the top, undisputed.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, this is their chance to prove their medal. And I'm not actually sure that there'll be much in the way of nerves on either side of the teams, because these guys have been playing competitive Warband, most of them for many, many years. I mean, many years, like 5+ years of high-end Warband. And so I kind of think it might just be routine for some players, whereas other players this might be a little bit newer to them, this level of competitive play. What do you think will be going through the respective Discords or team speaks? I mean, do you think there's much nerves, or is it just all robotic? We're just going to win this.
I'm really in the camp that these guys, both teams, are very comfortable right now. This is very routine for them. I think you said it correctly. I mean, Once you do enough pickups, offline scrims, things that don't matter, then you go to matches. And I mean, these guys have been playing this game for half a decade plus, some of them close to a decade. And I mean, the competitive scene's been around for a long time. These guys know what they're doing, and this is just Sunday school for these guys. I think their nerves are pretty calm.
Yeah, and great time to end that little analysis, as now we kick off this week 4 Division A match between the top 2 teams, House Tully versus Unity. The first round underway with Nords being helmed by House Tully and Vaegir being helmed by Unity. Although we do have a false alarm, that's not uncommon. That's not unusual. It was live, but now they're no longer live, so the next round will be live. Just PBK, just tell maybe some new viewers how the beginning of the round goes about. You know, it's quite hectic. There's a lot of dropping of equipment and running around to get the right positions. Why is that?
Yeah, so a quick overview. So 2 of these factions that were chosen for this map are drop-heavy factions. What I mean by that is Vaegirs, for example, they're going to drop free scimitars from their horsemen who have a discount. There's a lot of discounting going on between the classes. So once Javs on the north side, for example, are dropped and they're given to the infantry players from the cavalry, we can see that they want to take a position up and see where they are.
Yeah, and as you say, they want to kind of get all those drops quickly because the flag now spawns pretty early on in the round, and as you've seen, it has now spawned over by the bridge. This is a relatively recent introduction. The flag spawning quite early on before we had the flag spawn much later on in the round, but this recent introduction has seen teams kind of have the pace a little bit amped up, which I think is what they needed to change up a little bit.
We're taking the classic rock position. I'm more interested to see on the side of Nords where Anchor sets himself. He seems to be a little more passive. He's the furthest behind Archer. Maximo already set up as well as KS. Both teams have a grid position, but I think the Veagars have a slight advantage.
Interestingly, we see Nords take 3 archers. I mean, that might be... Archers on the Nords aren't the strongest of any factions, which is a bit of a surprise, but maybe they want to try and counteract the Vaegir dominance in that faction with 3 archers on both teams. We also see 2 infantry as well, which isn't a massive surprise for Vaegirs. You know, that's just some ground troops. Actually, we see an early death come about. Paolo manages to take down Sir Alex, and Sir Alex is a really good cav player, but he gets taken down early. Paolo doing a great job of getting a key cavalry player taken down, and Paolo, one of those versatile players that can just pretty much play anything to a pretty high standard, and he's actually taking a jab to the shoulder there, but he doesn't seem to be worried too much. He's just going to chill out behind Apollo, who's also taking a jab. So these javelins on Nords really being utilized well by House Tully.
Tully understands they took a moderate loss there with that. Shema making his way all the way back around. They want to kind of consolidate their forces on the rock here and try to get a pick with these archers. The noticing of the 3 archers was quite important, actually. The Nords, they have a lot of faith in these archers.
Definitely, and actually now we see the timer come down. Oh, Apollo gets taken down by Razor. Brilliant one-on-one headshot. Well sniped by him, but there's only 20 so seconds left, and now all the fight's going to happen on the flag. We see Unity Thor gets taken down. All the infantry are converging onto the flag now. Paolo gets shot by Anchor. Brilliant shot there, but LaRue equally gets shot by Caius. It's pretty even now, I'd say, on the flag. Only 2 archers remaining for Unity, but they're doing a good job. Seegers takes down Azan. Really well played. Shema's been dismounted. He's going to now join in on the fight on the flag. He's somehow managing to stay alive, as Ero also manages to dismount Seegers, but he gets taken down as well by Caius. Anchor, meanwhile, shoots down Maximo, and Scar also takes down Lapash. Wow, so many kills happening there. Wow.
Unity really staying in it to the end there. I mean, that was actually very close. They totally knew they needed to capitalize and get the kills on flag. Couldn't quite do it. I noticed Shema was running great interference for the archers. They gave them the time to do that, but that just wasn't enough. Great play by Unity.
Really great play by Unity. And actually, to say that they only had 4 kills between them, they managed to survive, and they did a great job. And that is a great example of survival above getting kills. As we see House Tully pretty much cleaning up shop with only... I think everyone died on the other team. Yeah, they did. So, I mean, I can't seem to recall the last time I saw so few kills resulting in a win. But they've done a good job, Unity, and now they've set the precedent early. As we see the flag now spawned by the church, and LaRue's going to try and I say he's going to try and put a little bit of pressure on Apollo, but he's not actually going to be able to get his bow out, as Caius and Apollo are just raining down like a machine gun on him. Actually, he does manage to get out his bow now, and it's just really back and forth between the archers. Razor's managed to upgrade his armor, but it's a good job because he's actually taken a hit by one of the archers from Unity. So really good shooting and archer prowess and skill being shown here.
I think it's not going to take long for Tully here to go for Apollo. I believe either him or Case. Unity's got to be aware. See, here we go. The Nord cavalry's kind of making their way around. They want to wait for a good opportunity to do this. Flag's going to become too pressured. Sebe and Pache are there on flag with Error, Scar. Something's going to happen here in the next 20.
Yeah, we see major discipline being shown by each infantry. They're sticking together in their pairs. They know that they could get picked off by an archer at any second, but they've got the spears out as well. Really professional from both sets of infantry as they just wait out. But there's only a minute left, and it just seems all the action happens in the last minute as we see Caius actually does get shot by LaRue, and the Tully archers seem to be taking over the field a little bit. And we do see a kill come in, and again, it's Sir Alex being taken down. I think he was trying to do something dodgy at the back now, but all the cav is going to come in. Shemmer actually takes down Seegers, who got trapped there. He himself got quite a major hit as he managed to save Anchor, but all right, the kills are just happening all over the place now. Lepash gets a double kill actually on Razor, as we see LaRue managing to... He's actually got pushed back. The Unity infantry actually pushed forward, and they got some great kills there, but equally, Scar and Shemmer are pushing behind, so there's a lot of flanking going on. We see Error take down Thor, who just couldn't get up in time. LaRue's also shooting. He's managed to take down Paolo. There's just players everywhere strewn over the battlefield. Oh, and we see Paolo take down Sebe in a team kill. He tried to come and help out his infantry, but he killed him in the process.
Apollo, last one up here. I noticed he was up the entire time. I mean, Paulo, he's got to do something. I was actually in his perspective there as I watched that. That was a pretty innocent TK. Apollo and LaRue were kind of on the outskirts of this fight the entire time. They couldn't quite properly shut down Apollo or LaRue, both sides of the teams there. And the archers couldn't really make any shots.
Yeah, the teams kind of seem to go around each other as the Cav kind of came in behind for Tully. But then equally, the Unity infantry pushed forward, and they did seem to have a little bit of momentum early on, but then it just got kind of snuffed out by the archers of Tully, who were doing a really good job of just maintaining pressure. Even if they're not getting all the kills, they are maintaining pressure on all of the Unity players, because they know at any moment a player like LaRue could just take them out with a headshot or Razor. So it's really, they've got to maintain their discipline.
The archers on both teams keeping the red tape taut. I mean, the cavalry here, I noticed on Tully, are a little bit more aggressive, as they should be, as the Nords. They have a few more free opportunities to throw some headshots from horseback, but it's the Vaegirs. They're not taking much of it, so they're very responsive. I noticed, but the Nord cav, they could be a little more aggressive, I think.
Yeah, I feel you're right, because that cav, they're showing how good they are, and we see Apollo actually take up position on the wheelbarrow by the indent concrete wall there. That's quite a common position for archers on this side of the spawn. Gets them a good overview. Sometimes they push towards that tree, but then they can get approached by enemy cav. King of Azan looks like he's going to try and take a long route round. He's going to maybe try and harass Apollo at some point, but Apollo sees him. Wow, okay, we saw a push from House Tully's infantry, but now they're pulling back. I think they're going to come up a little bit towards the hill. Yeah, Razor, I'm trying to see it. Yep, they are going to push towards that tree on the left-hand side, so the engagement's going to be taken away from the flag and towards that crater that Maximum and Caius have taken position in. Although it's very passive at the moment. They're really hesitant to commit any players anywhere.
Azan, as you said, in the cubby, as we call it, I don't know if it's the same over the pond here, trying to get a little bit of pressure on Apollo, and it looks like he's going to get some on him. Now they can have some opportunity here. Error and Scar, they see this, they're going to start moving into the pocket.
Yeah, they are now going to try and push Caius out at some point. Oh, Seegers does take out LaRue. Wow, that was a kill out of nowhere. Seegers actually harassing Razor at the back there as well. But in the meantime, Sir Alex finally actually doesn't die early on and takes down Caius. But Unity are pushing back here now. Thor takes down Sir Alex, and Paolo also takes down Shemmer. So that's Cav. Only one Cav remaining, which is Azan, and he's really low. Lepash is now taking down Scar, so that's the infantry. There's only Error left, and he's now been taken down by Apollo. They're just systematically taking down every Tully player. Lepash takes down Azan, who tried to dismount. That was useless, as we said. Double kill come out for Lepash. Apollo's harassing Anchor, who is not managing to do a great... Oh, almost an amazing kill there. Thor does take down Anchor in the end there. Wow. Very rigid from Unity, just completely decimated one by one.
That was very solid. Unity really playing it in there. I think it was a small overstep possibly by Tully there. Error and Scar, they were definitely saying, let's do this, let's get in there, and they were definitely in there, but the Cav, kind of some missed opportunities. The archers were not quite set up yet. I think if I was them, I would have given that another 5 seconds, and they would have some nicer shots. Apollo was kept down by Azan, but it did seem like it was enough. Well played by Unity.
Indeed, very well played by Unity. As you say, the Tully archers not able to flex their muscles as of yet. LaRue sitting down there at the bottom. I mean, we know it's not all about kills, but LaRue is one of those players that can change the game for you, so you want to kind of see a little bit more from him. Right, we now see the flag spawn in the middle now, which is nice and new for both teams. Both of them did push towards the church, which is quite a common place to sit because you can quite easily retreat back towards the middle there, as in the case of the 3 houses, as it's called. Maximo is going to shoot towards the infantry that are moving towards the flag. He's maybe going to try and get some foot shots, which is quite common, as they're going to pull back a little bit, Apollo and Maximo. I wonder where they're actually going to go, because they're kind of out there in the open. I don't know what Unity are actually planning to do, because their infantry are just kind of waiting around graveyard.
Yeah, Anchor on Tully here, he's actually kind of a key player in my eyes right now. He's kind of holding the line as the archer in graveyard has to be very cautious of getting the headshot from the left side. If Anchor can be kind of held there in safety by Shema, and LaRue is going to be on his backside, he's got a really good coverage here for the...
Be interesting to see where their 3rd archer is, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the fence. And actually, yeah, he is. So that's a really sickening crossfire there. Both players, all 3 players. LaRue's taken quite far back, and he's maybe going to protect Anchor, as Anchor does actually get approached by Captain Palo, and the Unity team is actually going to push Anchor. Maximo actually takes down Sir Alex. Again, we see an early death from him. Not great, and not what you want to see from your Cav. The Pash takes down Error as well. Again, we just see one by one. The Tully players are just falling down like dominoes here. Double kill for Pash again, and LaRue's getting harassed by all that Unity Cav. That is sickening to see that. That's not what you want to see at all. Kais is going to come round, but Maximo takes down Azam with a brilliant headshot. He's just going to remain shooting on the flag, and wow, Unity dominant in that round. What are they doing?
Great set, yeah, for sure. Tully here. When they pushed around Unity, that is, around the graveyard, Anchor was pushed just like I thought he would, but more importantly, the infantry push that came outside of graveyard into the front was not really met with much of anything right away. They should have left the flag and immediately tried to protect Anchor if they wanted to try and win anything there.
Yeah, I thought, like you said, I thought Anchor was in a decent position, and LaRue was actually set up behind him, so he could kind of protect any Cav coming in, but then they didn't foresee the Unity infantry actually just completely ignoring the flag and ignoring Razor on that fence, and they just pushed straight for Anchor systematically with the Cav as well. And I don't know what House Tully's response was. They didn't seem to have a response.
Unity just putting a lot of faith there in, it seemed like Maximo especially, what it looked like was he was telling them, I don't have any great shots here. If we want to take this flag, I need you to give him some space here. Okay, we understand what that means. So they get the infantry to just push out, and Maximo can then just leave his position with still some protection from the Cav. He's not going to get hit right away, and the attention is immediately put on Anchor. And from there, they can steer the attention away from the flag and start something on their own terms. Unity just kind of dominating these group fights when it gets down to it. But we'll see what AE does on Vaegir's side here.
Yeah, Tully, I was about to say, do you think House Tully need to change up anything when they move over to the other faction? Because I'd say Nords do have quite an advantage in their infantry and their Cav as well, and they did seem to get quite outplayed in all areas, really. Even though they took 3 archers, it didn't seem to help them at all. Do you think maybe they had to rethink their tactic for next set? I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but do you think that the way that this round went, do you think it's going to have to maybe cause Azan to maybe rethink some things?
I think they're definitely thinking about changing some of their strategy as far as pre-placing for flags, but if you're the archers on Tully and even any of the players in general, they know that Vaegir Archer is very comfy, and especially for somebody like LaRue, I mean, it's just a nice place to be. Nord Archer is a little bit of a struggle. It's a very different experience, but totally know that, okay, we got 1-3 here. Let's just change a few things. Maybe it's minor. I don't even think they have to change anything comp-wise. It's just a little bit more reactionary according to where the flag spawns, and just maybe keep track of where your archers are a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that is very telling, as you say, keeping track of the archers, because I mean both teams have every right to use their archers in a really big way. I mean, it's not like they're supporting classes. We see players like LaRue and Razor. You can definitely just tell them to give them a really big task and let them crack on with it. But they really were shut out by the Unity Cav. Do you think that's a specific tactic called by Paolo? Has he said to his guys, right, they've got really good archers, we need to just shut them down instantly, or is it just all part of the plan?
I think Paulo is definitely in control of understanding what his team is very good at. From watching Sig's point of view of some of his matches, I can definitely just hear the communication is seamless with those guys. They're very comfortable with one another. It's a lot less micromanagement, and it's a lot more, let's move this general direction, and we'll let things kind of unfold from there. And his cavalry players are definitely in tune with that kind of behavior.
Yeah, and that's definitely every captain's dream, really, to not have to micromanage and just let players crack on with giving your general direction. And as we move on now to the second set, we see both teams swap sides. And now we see Unity take Nords and Tully take Vaegirs. Nothing too major in setups, that is. We see Unity take 4 cav, 2 infantry, 2 archers. Probably a bit more standard. And we see Tully taking 4 cav, 2 archers and 2 infantry as well. So mirror setups for both teams.
Yeah, they both dropped an archer. I can understand why Tully would like to have the Nord 3 archer advantage to maybe get that early pick, and they did several times. But now that they're on Vaegirs, I can empathize, but I can't sympathize. Why did we drop an archer? I guess we'll see. The 4 cav just to kind of bang, so it were, with the other Nord cav. I can see that. We'll have to see how this sticks out though with 2 archers on both sides.
As we see the flag spawn in the center by the well, in front of the 3 houses, we see Unity, Carney and Vernon. Infantry being a little bit more aggressive, I'd say. They're not sat back on the flag. They're actually more in an awkward position, to halfway between the fence and the flag. I can't see where the rest of the team is, though, so I'm curious as to why Tully are being hesitant. I can't see an archer anywhere, which maybe is they've duped us as well. Actually, no, Maximo's just hidden around the corner, so that's why they're being a little bit hesitant. And as expected, they're going to push towards him, but the Unity are going to counteract and protect their archers, so the mini infantry engagement's going to happen. Gibby tries to get a couch, but he gets reared up in the process. And we see Cav just coming in all over the place, trying to get a cheeky bump stab in. Paolo does get stopped, and he manages to dismount, actually. And he does get taken down by Azam, but Maximo is still shooting by the fence. And Razor takes down Shemmer. Oh, it's not a team kill you want to be having on your team. You don't want to take down Shemmer, not one of those really important Cav players. So we see Tully with a major disadvantage there. Unity also 2 players down, but I think Unity came off better in that engagement.
Nice from Razor.
Wow, that was really well played to take down Farunian, who was dismounted and then engaged in infantry with Razor.
Maximo gets another shot here on the death of Kana here. Maximo needs to get in some kind of pick here before he goes. They can get this back to even here.
We see Carney, he's just hiding out in the corner. Oh, and Gibby takes him down. Really well played. Great stab there, just catching Carney off guard. Scar's going to push in now, and he's going to help push that flag with error. They're both on very low health, so that shouldn't affect them. They're nerve of steel, and it's clearly being seen. Scar takes down Maximo, but Apollo and Thor take down respectively. Thor gets a double kill, actually. Wow, really well played by Thor. He's just bombing around anywhere, and he gets a triple kill on Scar. He's just absolutely a tank on his horse right now, and Seegers gets a double kill as well. Wow, really impressive play.
Unity, I mean, you said it, Thor. That was just great capitalization on the chaos going on flag. Totally kind of not really wrapping up things they needed to wrap up. Put concisely, that's Unity just kind of staying with it. I know their comms are clean just from watching a lot of these POV gameplays from Siegs, and they really just stayed in it. That's just another great round from Unity.
As you say, Thor capitalizing on the chaos of the final few seconds there to get a triple kill at a really important time. And then Seegers as well getting a double kill. So, you know, 2 players taking down five enemy players is very impressive when it comes to skill, especially this high level of play as well.
Something of note, I think, just as kind of a more of a macro, I'll get into it after this. Vernon's getting a stop here on Paul. Looks like they're just generally moving back. I thought there was going to be more of a thing happening there. Unity last round, it was they kept major attention in a macro sense on the flag. I mean, it was obvious. They had that fight going on at 3 houses there in the back, and that lasted a good minute and a half. But more importantly, they knew exactly who to send to flag. It was Apollo as well as an infantry player. And from there, they just had that constant variable in the background, just as they're doing now. And they kept that in mind as Thor went around and wrapped it up.
Yeah, and Seegers actually was very aggressive there and just get taken down by Razor. That's 1 for 1, but the Unity Cav just seemed to be far more confident on the field. They're just roaming around effortlessly between the houses and between Tully players. They just don't seem to be coming out. But Vernon, wow, what a kill! That was impressive. I think that was a javelin, I think. Oh, Fruni gets taken down as well. Okay, right, now the archers are having a big impact now. Maximo's just shooting freely, and Razor takes down Paolo. But Apollo manages to get back Azan, and wow, loads of kills coming in for the archers here. Razor gets a double kill on Thor. Alex takes down Apollo. And it's just Error and Scar. They manage to eradicate the field of enemy infantry players on the ground. It's just Maximo by himself here. He's going to put up a very decent fight, but I think he's going to get taken down. I mean, we can't say anything too soon. Yeah, so Alex does take him down. So Tully, you know, kind of saying, "Oh, I've had enough now. We're going to step it up a gear."
Exactly right. Tully says enough is enough. I mean, you can see it in the way they're playing now. It's there are gears to this. There are gradation scales here that they're in tune with. A lot of these veteran players from Tully, they know when it is time to turn up the heat, and that was a lot of that right there. There was no hesitation. They moved right onto the flag, and it was intuitive from there. That was really well played by Tully.
I think Tully will prefer one-on-one engagements as well, because I think that maybe, arguably, the overall skill level of each individual player might be slightly superior to that of Unity. That's maybe a controversial opinion being thrown out there, but Unity showing that actually doesn't matter, because the team cohesion is just outplaying that of Tully's. But we do see that engagement. Wow, yeah, huge crash happening now. Just random players strewn over the place. Error's actually fighting Carney and Vernon as well. Razor does actually manage to shoot Paolo. I don't know where he was situated, actually. I can't see. Oh, there he is. He's on the outside. He's just shooting everything in sight. Thor's going to try and maybe roam around and get a kill on him. Farunian's there. He's going to get out of there. Gibby actually is on a Corsa, but... Okay, we see Seegers take down Azam. Wow.
LaRue and Razor, 2 eyes on players right now. There's the big drop from Razor. Another pick up on Farunian soon, maybe. No, not good.
Very chaotic fight happening here. No, doesn't seem to be any organisation in terms of pre-planned fight. Wow, and actually we see 2 double kills coming in for Tully. Razor again playing absolutely off of his head, getting another double kill, with Shemmer also getting a double kill. He's finally managed to find his feet. Or as he's on a horse, he's going to now come in and try and maybe get a little cheeky kill on one of the infantry. He's going to try and take down, but oh, he just manages to jump over there. Paolo's managed to, actually now, he does get taken down. And another double kill for Shemmer. Is that going to be the triple? Are we going to see the triple from Shemmer? No, we're not. LaRue takes it down.
Wow, just kind of a back-to-back mirror gameplay as the previous round for this Tully team. I mean, it's something very comfortable and close to home for me, keeping the archers alive in pockets as you move with infantry. That's something these Tully guys are very familiar with. That's not to say Unity aren't any less so, but if I'm being honest, I kind of agree with you. In the individual realm, these Tully guys, they know how to play with one another on that different wavelength. And I saw that there with Razor and LaRue, covered by Error and Scar. I mean, that's a whole lot of comfy going on there in the cubby pocket, and it showed there.
Yeah, now we're going to see a lot of armor come out for Tully. We see Shemmer with upgraded armor as well. Razor, Error, LaRue opting to get better boots. So yeah, a lot of armor coming out now, and that is going to have an impact on the length of the fight as well. And I think it's going to be more difficult for Unity to maybe get momentum. But once they get momentum, I don't think they'll struggle. But we're going to see now Unity take an early capture of the flag. They're actually going to push the flag up now, so this is different from before. They're putting pressure on Tully to make a move onto the flag, which is nice. I like that. I like that where their heads are. They're trying to take the game away from Tully's fight and maybe put a little bit of pressure on them to make decisions that they're not comfortable with.
This is an opportunity for Unity to show that that was not just a fluke, and they can handle what Tully is going to do here. They had that one experience 2 rounds ago where they lost this on this, and it's time for them to maybe show a little different of a gameplay here.
Wow! Carney gets taken down very, very quickly by Scar and Error there. Really quick death. Vernon's just got his spear now. And Apollo takes down Azam with a brilliant headshot. Shemma's been dismounted. We see Farunia coming. He gets reared up. So Alex takes down Vernon. Gibby takes down Paolo. So many quick kills. Apollo's by himself. He's maybe going to try and jump shoot and take down the infantry by himself. But I don't think it's going to make much of an impact as Razor gets taken down by Maximo elsewhere. Wow, this was very, very quick from Tully. They are not in a mood to have a long round. Wow, really well played from Tully. No sloppiness there at all. Quick deaths on the Unity side.
Very solid. Yeah, the Tully Cav, they have no hesitation. Unity maybe spread a little too close together. I think if they could have had somebody out towards the fence line like they did rounds prior, they had Apollo out there previously doing his work as Archer, but not this time. Tully says we're not having any of that.
Shame to not see kills coming out for Farunian or Paolo, 2 players that you maybe think would have a bigger impact. They just clearly were shut out, not able to indent into the scoreboard as much as they'd like. We're now going to see a very different map, Sandy Bush. This is a historic map, I think it's fair to say. This has been a competitive map pool for a long, long time, created by Captain Lust, the former community manager at Tailworlds. He's done a great job of pocketing plays on this map. It's very close quarters. It's difficult to be a cav on this map, I'd say. It's not obviously the highly skilled cav players don't have that much of an issue, but it is a lot easier for infantry to cut off cavalry with their entrance and escape with just simply putting spears in the back. Maybe I'm foreseeing a lot of infantry in this lineup, especially with Rhodoks as well, who have really good infantry.
I think you put it perfectly. The pocket gameplay is really heavily reinforced on this map. It goes really well with this. It's an opportunity for a lot of these infantry players to pull out plays, for lack of a better definition, that they normally would not show themselves doing in like an aggressive manner, and they'll kind of go out of their way to try to make this really close to home map that all these players know really well, and try to do something different. It's very difficult for them to try to pull that off when the flag spawns and everything's very familiar. But I think the cavalry will be a hard stretch to get any pickups here that aren't risky.
Yeah, very interesting and crucial that you mentioned how experienced the players will be on this map. That there's nothing really that's going to surprise them majorly, unless we do see a very weird tactic come out. But I don't see that happening. I think it's just going to be quite traditional, rudimentary. We're going to take 2 cav at most, a lot of infantry, especially with Rhodoks as well. I'm maybe seeing maximum 2 crossbows, potentially even 1, maybe to surprise the opposition.
The infantry are going to be in the zone. The Tully guys really like to play close together. I know Unity's no different, but it's Rhodoks. They're going to have to kind of start this out strong, and I expect they will. Rhodoks, I really wouldn't. If I had to pick, I really would not pick Rhodoks except on this map. Maybe 2 others that are closed. I really just don't like the faction, but they're extremely strong in the right hands, and these are definitely the right hands. Tully will do a lot of work here.
Tell me why you don't like Rhodoks. Maybe that could be something that new, unexperienced players or viewers aren't aware. Why might Rhodoks not be a favourable faction?
Naturally, if the choice is available and you have the opportunity to pick Swadia, it's generally the pick you make based on the weapon stats, armor stats, and class stats that you come with. The infantry are very dominant on Rhodoks, and so are the crossbows. But the Swadian Cav is just so much better for open-ended engagements when you have the opportunity to do so. Rhodoks, they get kind of closed in. The board shields are definitely a plus. The cleavers are a plus. 2 things that stand out, but it kind of ends there. The head armor is extremely efficient. They do have cheap sets, But Swadia more or less comes out on top of every stat, so it's kind of a bummer.
Do you think Rhodoks are afforded any advantages, maybe any privileges you could say that other factions don't have?
The cheapest armor set for them, which I believe is 390 for the brown set you see them using right now, is definitely a class above the same for other factions. But beyond that, even though the cavalry for Rhodoks is something that a lot of these guys have learned how to use the maces for, it's their lance. I mean, it's just no redeemable qualities really.
But still, we see high-level teams, just making the most of it and doing a really good job, especially with when we see players like Azan take control. They just make things happen, especially with the players as well. When you've got infantry players like Scar and Anchor, Gibby. I think you can put them in pretty much any faction, and they'll do a really good job with infantry.
These infantry players, they know how to play Rhodoks. I mean, they can definitely 3-0 with Rhodoks. I just think Vaegirs they're going to be the faction here.
Do you potentially see these teams making it a long way? I mean, obviously, I know this is Division 8. These are the top 2 teams. But do you think maybe we could see one of these teams, lose their stomach later on in the knockout stages? Or do you think, these are very confident teams? They're probably going to meet at a much later stage.
I have complete faith that Tully will see this through to either the semis or finals. But Unity would be kind of my flavor card. I really would like to see them go, just because they're undefeated at the moment, like we mentioned earlier, and this is one of the teams that they did beat, was Tully. If they could do it again, this would be a big step for them as players together. I think they could definitely make it all the way as well.
A very really cool prediction. You hearing it there from PBK on Bladecast. So if we do see these teams meet in the grand final, you heard it here first. Hopefully these teams will crack on, because we don't want to be here until midnight. Just a small reminder, whilst we've got this small window of opportunity, I just want to thank the tournament admins, Deacon, Scar and Aaronwin, for giving up their time, to put on this great tournament. As people speculate and like to, bring around, it's kind of like a cycle now. It comes around every couple of weeks that, Warband's dying and whatnot. But we saw many, I think something like 250 players sign up. So, I mean, that doesn't tell me that the game's dying. It tells me that they still want to see tournaments and they're still interested in playing. Obviously, the excitement and expectancy for Bannerlord is still there. Do you think the competitive scene will transfer over quite naturally to Bannerlord, or are you staying away from making any comments about Bannerlord?
I'll definitely make a few comments. I think you're right. The competitive community will definitely show up on Force, and you'll see some legacy players there, myself included. I mean, tons of people who stopped playing 5 years ago but were veterans at the time. I think you'll see all those people show up. Whether or not they stay based on certain factors, I think that remains to be seen.
Interesting. And now, speaking of veteran players, we're going to see the veteran players of both teams now, of Unity and House Tully, take to the field. We see Unity taking up 4 infantry, 2 archers and 2 cav, so as expected. But we're going to see 5 infantry, again as expected, 5 infantry and 1 crossbow and 2 cav for Rhodok. So pretty much word for word how we said it was going to go down. Both teams now actually going to take up separate sides of the map. And the flag has spawned, and it's kind of just a roll of the dice there, as we do see Unity get the look of the roll there, and they manage to get the flag. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on Tully to push over now. They are going to push through the main section there, that not slowing down at all. They're going to push through this side. Interestingly enough, Thor's waiting for him actually at the bottom of the ladder there, but I don't know what his plan is.
I like what he's up to there. That's just a general, you guys aren't going to get this close without me not noticing. I like what he's doing. He sees they're all going inside and he's backing off. That's just a general display of spreading out there. Amazon now trying to put the ladder up. Sig's coming in to say no. He's touching it again. A lot of flag control there.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for LaRue to make a big impact, as we see Caius has plopped his little hiney there on the top of the stairs, and he's actually been protected by Vernon just in case anyone maybe tries to push up the ladder, but the ladder's been taken down. Azan is just hovering around that other entrance there, Now we're going to see big pushes coming on. Kaius takes down Error with a brilliant headshot. Really well played. And Vernon actually shoots down Shema with his scimitar. Scar just managed to get back a skill on Sebe now as the infantry managed to kicking up. But Farunian takes down Anchor now, so that he's going to go away and help out somewhere else. But Azan does take down Apollo, but he himself still actually gets taken down by Seegers with a double kill, and Kaius gets another headshot. He's just shooting down from his Tower of Doom there. Alex does take down Farunian, but he's just by himself now. He's not going to be able to do much there as he gets taken down by Seegers, who was rid up with the help of Canny. Really well played by Unity. Actually, quite surprisingly to see Tully not coming out on top there with their infantry prowess. Unity actually, shoving them out of the way and saying, yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't care that we've got one less infantry. We'll just use Kaius.
Yeah, Kaius definitely showing up. I agree. Unity definitely showing their dominance there on the inside of Graveyard. Something to note, even though it was the flag did spawn on them, they did an excellent job of Vernon there of just keeping, and Sigs as well, keeping the ladder down. It wasn't even raised. It couldn't be raised. Ozan was trying to come there and put some pressure on that. Yeah,
and I'm sorry to cut you off there, PB. The fight is happening really, really quickly now into this round. The flag hasn't even spawned. So we see LaRue shoots down Sebe. I think Tully kind of want to take this into their hands, which they are doing. We see a double kill come from Gibby. So this fight was really forced. And Anchor gets a double kill as well. Error are doing a good job of just supporting as an infantry there. Kind of underappreciated there as supporting infantry. Yeah, Tully just not even giving Unity any breathing room whatsoever. Only losing one player, and that was Azan. Well played. I think that spark of aggression caught Unity off guard.
That's how I know these Tully players. Is that round encapsulates how I know a lot of these players. Is right there. That was excellent. It was okay. We lost that. That sucks. Let's do what we know how to do, and let's get in their face. And that's exactly what they did. And it wasn't even close. Well played, Blake.
Yeah, Unity caught off guard there, big time. They're gonna now be a lot more hesitant. They're gonna wait. They're gonna use their communication, I'd like to think, to point out if anyone's doing a really aggressive push. But yeah, I think Tully know that they're not going to be able to get away with that again, so they're just going to chill out by the graveyard, waiting for that flag, which they do manage to get. So fortune favours either team, it seems, because both teams have managed to get the luck with spawning in that graveyard as they wait there. Not actually. I was curious to see what Unity are doing. Thor kind of just seems to do his own little mission, whereas the rest of the Unity team are kind of catching up with him.
LaRue in where he should be. Now, how Gibby and Azan handle this, if they're going to try to get the ladder secured, is to be seen. Doesn't look like anybody's out there. Looks like they're just leaving this alone entirely. This is interesting.
Apollo is now just going to wait behind the main contingent of infantry players for Unity. I can't see where... All right, Kaius is there. He's going to go towards the... Oh, and wow, really well played. LaRue shoots him, and then Anchor manages to take him down. So that's one player down. Kaius, big player. He's down for Unity. Anchor is now going to come out with his pike. We see loads of pikes for Tully, actually. Those just seem to be weapons from hell. We see Scar take down Thor, but Semi does get a kill back on Error. Anchor gets his pike, and he gets a double kill with his pike, and a triple kill with his pike. He takes down Veagir, Semi, and Farunian, and he gets a quadruple kill with his pike. Anchor, just the pike master. Wow. I don't know what to say. That was insane. The pikes from
if I can rescind my earlier comments about Rhodoks not having any bonuses, I did forget about the long stick of death. That was some great gameplay with the pike there.
It was a death trap for Unity. Actually, they got caught up in the graveyard, and they just couldn't get out of it. The pike, I'm pretty sure I saw two pikes there. Anchor had one. Azan, I think, had another one, and that was just devastating. Anchor just showing how brutal that weapon is. All you have to do is just click left, and he just timed it perfectly and took down half the team in about 10 seconds. So really well played from him. Unity actually going to do the same thing that Tully did to them. They're going to take the graveyard as well, but I hope they realise that the flag can't spawn there again. Or can it?
Yeah, they definitely wanted that mid flag, not going to go to them. Tully immediately doing the obvious for them, which is to take the graveyard, complete opposite. So a lot of these teams don't have any problem taking the graveyard if it spawns there, but alleyway definitely a better spot for this.
Yeah, and interesting from Unity, they actually took Tully's spawn. Maybe they prefer to push from this side. Anchor does have that really great armor, not surprisingly, with his amazing quadruple kill from last round. But again, the pikes are going to come out, and we're going to see loads of overhands. We're going to probably see a lot of... yeah, he's actually getting pushed by Vernon, who takes down Azan, and he's also going to try and take down Anchor. Anchor does get taken down by Apollo, so they've taken down those pikemen really quickly. Scar does get a kill back on Vernon, but he's very low on health as Frudian comes behind, and he manages to dispose of him. Wow, Unity completely turning this set around. Oh, LaRue, brutal headshot. But we see a double kill coming out for Seegers, and it's just LaRue by himself, and he gets taken down by Kaius as well. So Unity pushing back there, they weren't having any of that again. They quickly disposed of the pikemen. They knew that they were devastating last round, and they just completely shut them off.
The infantry by Unity really well played. I noticed especially that they put themselves on ice there. Nobody took a lot of damage. Nobody got dropped immediately when Tully came out right away, and that was really important for them to clutch that, because that allowed the Unity cab to stay in the fight and come around different angles. Wow, Sigs really pick on Shema. That's actually huge for them.
Okay, so now I'm kind of curious as to see what Unity are doing. They kind of seem to just be all over the place.
Kaius is holding
Unity
in the back.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay, this is not what I was expecting. Okay, LaRue does take down Farunian. Seegers has got 1 kill on Azan, but it's not enough. Okay, Apollo also takes down LaRue, so the Unity are fighting back. It's even now. There's 4 infantry left for Tully, as we see 3 infantry left for Unity. Apollo's still shooting, though, and he's the only ranger left on the battlefield. Oh, Verna takes down Gibby, and then it also takes down... Sorry, taken down as well. He wasn't allowed in that fight at all.
Paul looking for some shots, probably not going to find anything here.
So disorganized, this fight, isn't it?
Yes, this is hard to keep track of here. Oh, big pickups from Unity at the end, very swift. Yeah, that was rather strange to see. It looked initially like Kaius knew he was far out of position, but that's kind of you're trading here. This is in the mind of all these players. He had 3 on him, and then on the opposite end of that, Gibby had 3 on him later in the fight, and that allowed them to kind of swing that back and forth. But that was really fast. I think both teams just kind of wanted to get that set over with. I know that feeling quite well.
They seem to be doing the same thing to each other, though. As soon as Unity are pushed aggressively by Tully and they get caught off guard, Unity do the same thing back to Tully, and it seems very weird. They just seem to be pushing the fight in completely random places. I mean, maybe these teams are so good that they know that, right, trying to do anything tactical and, try and outmaneuver the other team isn't just going to work. So they're just hoping for the best and using their raw skill to win the fight. It just seems like that.
I think that's exactly right. I think there's a lot of over-the-shoulder looking from these guys looking at their team members and thinking, okay, that's Gibby. He's got 3 on him and a Cavs coming to him. That makes 4. He's probably got 10 seconds. There's a lot of that mental math going on between these guys, and I think that's a lot of these rounds half the time. Their decision-making in a lot of these chaotic fights is, how much does X know about how to defend against Y, and how much time do I have to do something here?
Speaking of decision-making, do you think this is direct result of the callers maybe not making calls, maybe they're indecision, or they're actually just saying, you know what, guys, let's just push for them and hope for the best? What do you think's happening?
I really think that is on the later point you made. I really do think that's what it is, especially for Tully. I know they're very comfortable with it, and just listening to Paulo a few times, not knowing him really well as a caller, but just listening to him in kind of a layman's perspective, it's really just let's generally push this direction, and he'll make a few minor adjustments as we go. Watch out for this, or let's get somebody moving over here. But after that, it's nobody's responsible except for the players at that point. It's an individual's game at that point, and they all know that. And they try to help each other as best they can. Really comfortable place for both of them to be.
Definitely. And now we see the result of the entire match hinge on this final set. Could go either way, as we see Rhodok's pulling out a dominant performance with their pikes, but then Veagir is managing to pull it back. Well, I should say Unity managing to pull it back with Veagir's. Just to point out to any new viewers as well that it is a 1-to-3 setup. Hopefully the graphic that you can see now will explain it in terms of what happens, so that they have one faction and then they swap, and then they do that just for the one map, and then they swap a map again, and they just do it all over again. And so now it's going to be the final set on the second map, and it's going to see Tully take up Vaegir's, and then we're going to see Rhodok's been taken up by Unity. And again, it could go either way at this point.
I think it really could. This is looking like just as solid a match as the match they had prior. The two of these teams meeting. Unity just extremely solid. Doesn't look like they're faltering at all from the previous match they had. Tully's showing that there's still somebody home, and it's going to be a fight to the end.
I think maybe brawl might be the better word there, because it just seems to be so messy and chaotic, these fights. It's not how we've seen these teams perform before. That normally there's just a dominant performance and it's very clean cut, whereas this just seems to be very, as viewers have put it, sloppy. They just seem to be all over the place. So I'm wondering if it's going to be just the same as final set. We're just going to see players thrown into the battle and hope for the best, or is it going to be a little bit more disciplined?
I think a lot of that is these players are noticing that nothing's happening just based on the pure individual skill of both teams. And at some point, they make a conscious effort to make something happen. And whoever does that first is the reason why these become so chaotic. It just kind of descends from there into total chaos.
Yeah, and this chaos hopefully won't overflow into the rest of the tournament, as we see a very organised structure, and they will go on. Whoever wins this will come out on top of the division, and they'll sit quite comfortably in that. They'll know that they'll have, I'm almost sure, a certainty of moving on into the knockout stages. Although it's not, as knockout stages imply, you don't get instantly knocked out. You still do carry on playing to decide the final structure. So a defeat doesn't mean that you're instantly shut out of the tournament. And speaking of the tournament as a whole, it is good to point out some of the prizes that have been offered. So Tailworlds are offering 13 Bannerlord keys, and they're going to split them between the three divisions. And then we're also going to see players who have topped out in each of the stats. So also a shout out to Harmon and Yami. They have been making the stats for tournaments for several years now, and they do an amazing job. They add new interesting stats every tournament. I don't know if they have for this tournament, but yeah, we see some crazy stats coming out, and so do check them out on the forums. And the top players of each of those, some of the stats, they've been already pre-selected by the tournament admins and Tailworlds about who will receive the Bannerlord keys. So big shout out for them.
Definitely a thankless task that goes rather unnoticed, especially in the NA community for stats. We do appreciate having numbers.
Yeah, now we see the final set come out between Tully and Unity to decide the week 4 top of Division A. These are two Titan teams. These are the two, on paper, the two best teams in the tournament, and they're coming head to head. And as Warband fashion, it all comes down to the last set, and we're not going to see anything too surprising again. Rhodoks are being used by Unity for their infantry prowess, and we're going to see 5 infantry come out there. But also, we're going to see 5 infantry for Vaegirs. So Tully doing a great job there. Oh, actually, the fight's already kicked off, so they don't even care about the flag. Wow. Vernon gets a double kill instantly. Sebe also takes down Error. Wow, Unity coming out of the block so dominantly. Sebe is going to... Oh, no, I thought he was going to actually get taken down there, but Anchor stomped over. Double kill for Seegers there. And yeah, Shema just gets taken down. Okay, that's how they want to play.
Unity showing great unity. That was just they came in immediately, and Tully was ready for them. But they got 2 early black bars, which means 0 HP on 2 players from Tully, and from there they saw the flag spawn, and then there was no waiting. We can't let them set up, and they just didn't hesitate. That was just excellent gameplay from Unity.
Indeed, excellent gameplay. Now we're going to see a similar scenario maybe kick off in the graveyard. Tully are going to be, I'd say, aggressive, but now actually they're just holding back. They know that fight isn't one they want. They know how devastating the pikes were when they used them for Rhodok, so I think equally they're being cautious about committing into that fight before the flags even spawn. And speaking of, it has now spawned into the middle. Both teams towards the graveyard. Going to see if Unity maybe try and push around them, or they're going to push straight towards them. Yeah, they are, as Apollo is shooting from the top there. He's the only crossbow, and equally Razor's the only archer. So we'll just see 1 ranger from each team, which is interesting, but not also surprising, as we see the infantry making up the bulk of this fight and the kills.
I would like to see somebody go inside for Apollo here from Tully. Step inside and kind of put some pressure on. But I think that's exactly what Unity's waiting for, and instead they're going to take the fight to them. And now Scar, okay, Scar, they're doing exactly what I thought. Scar is now the one that's going inside. Unity did not decide to chase. They're going to let the Cav go on him instead. This is good for Tully. They could push this here because they have the advantage in numbers for just a short amount of. When they see this, here we go.
Yeah, and look where Razor is. He's on a really devastating position, but Unity actually going to pull back. They're being very cautious about committing to this fight. Apollo takes down Scar early on, and Paolo takes down Azan, and then Shema takes down Paolo. Okay,
wow.
Tully are now pushing back now. They have had enough. They're just doing the same thing. Oh, no, we do see Sir Alex take down Error, but I don't know if that's going to make a huge impact or not. Sebe does have full health, and he's going to duke it out with Anchor. Lepash is going to pull back, and he gets taken down by Gibby, who gets a double kill. Then Razor shoots down Sebe as well. So they're just doing the same thing to each other. They're just catching them off guard and just outpowering them with just raw skill. And Apollo gets a really dirty kill on Sir Alex there. Very well played from him.
Apollo, if he could pick up another for economy here, maybe.
He's actually going to jump down. He's going to sacrifice a little bit of health. I wonder how much he's going to maybe try and survive or try and win. He's just going to... Yeah, Shema's going to come in and bump him, and then he's probably going to get taken down by the infantry, which he does. Anchor cleans up. So it's 1-1 now. Unity have 8. House Tully have 7. Wow, okay, so there's no tiebreaker in this stage of the tournament. So if it is a... if it is a draw, which I don't think it can it be. I think it. Yes, it can be. Yeah, if it's 3-2 to Tully, then it could be a draw. So I mean that wouldn't be desirable. We want to see an outright winner. Surely we don't want to be left hanging on a draw by any means.
That would definitely be wow, starting already. Yeah, Unity and they just want to get this going.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they do want to get this going as both teams just piled into the alleyway now. Okay, Tully getting 3 very quick kills. Oh, Razor gets a sickening headshot on Paolo there from up above. So Alex is going to take a little bit of a backseat now. He knows he can't get too much done in the way of Kabla Pash is being approached by 3 devastating Tully infantry players. He does get taken down. And then Vernon gets taken down as well. Gibby getting a double kill there with his Vaegir version of an axe. Called the Bardiche. And yeah, okay. So Tully have still yet to lose a player. Is it going to be a whitewash in this late stage of the game? It's just Seeger's left alone now. Shema's very low on health, and he gets taken out by Sir Alex. That was the stupidest team kill I've ever seen. He just didn't even try to kill Seegers. He just stabbed Shema. I wonder if that was an intentional move or not.
It looked pretty intentional. I wouldn't put it past him.
Okay, maybe. Okay, the potential for a whitewash was ruined there by a very confusing and very controversial team kill. I'm sure Shema's quite an outspoken player. I'm sure he'll have no issue with taking that up with Sir Alex. Very weird. But now we see it all tied up. It's aggregate 8-8. But House Tully with the advantage 2-1.
Now, somebody from Tully is going to make the conscious decision here to get that lot. Now, I think it's going to be either Anchor or Azan, maybe Scar. Scar did it last time. But the thing about this is it's favored them 2 out of 3 times. Yeah, okay, so we got Graveyard Spawn. It's all there. Lepash is going up top to see what's going on with the ladder. And the cavalry is kind of cutting off Sir Alex in the back. So this is going to be who goes for the ladder. Okay, looks like it's more than one. It's the whole team's going. So.
Okay, yeah, that's very different. Although they are being passed. They're just kind of waiting for the ladder to be put up now. This is different. They're not going to try and commit into that small graveyard alleyway round the side. Not to get confused with the other map position. So. Are they going to try and put the ladder up, or they're just going to try and push from there? They don't seem to make a decision yet. I can't seem to think what they're waiting for. I mean, time. They do have 1 minute and 30 left. But okay, so like you said, the whole team's going to push up the ladder now. This is very different. Anchor does jump down and stab Seegers, and Shema's also going to come in and help him out. So the entire fight looks like it's going to happen on the ladder, these stairs, sorry, and I've not seen this before. Apollo is down, and he's going to push away Azam with Carney. Cab is coming in, and 1-for-1 there as Carney takes down Azam, but then Alex takes down Paolo. Alex has a double kill, actually. He's roaming around, and he's doing a great job. He gets a huge stab on Thor as well. Is he going to get a double kill? Is he going to get a triple kill? Sorry, I think he might do. All right, but in the meantime, Razor shot Apollo, and he also shoots down Sebe as well, but that's 2 for 2 as Razor gets a triple kill, a crucial triple kill in this late stage of the game. Scar takes down Thor as well, and it's just 2 of them left. I don't think they're going to be able to do much. Gibby's now got his Bardiche out, and it's Vernon's doing a great job of surviving. He's got full health, and he's actually going to take on Anchor, and he does take down Anchor, and he's just got Scar left. He's going to try and come over and help Scar. He does get a bump, but Scar manages to get a huge slash limit on. Sykes takes down Vernon as he jumps. It's just Carney left, and I think Tully are going to take this. I think they're going to take this, and they do. Scar takes down Carney to finish it off. House Tully win the entire match, very close, right down to the final round. Wow, really well played.
Tully really keeping it together there. They put the brakes on at the end, coming up the ladder. I mean, it was kind of an obvious choice for them. Thor had the right idea from Unity. He wanted to get as many resets on the ladder as possible to give them as much time as possible. Tully wasn't having any of that. They didn't want to go inside and have that same disadvantage rather on the ladder side. So really well played from them. What a close match.
Yeah, and a very not traditional match. We saw a lot of sloppy fights, just chaos all over the battlefield as we saw fights happening sometimes in 3 or 4 different places at once. And Unity seemed to, they would realize that actually, yeah, we're losing now, and they'd come back very dominantly, and they played incredibly well in the final stages of both sets actually to come back and win with Vaegirs as well, 3-2. But then they just weren't able to keep that momentum up, and they only managed to win 1 round. Really interesting match though. Like, they just seem to do the same thing to each other, and it does seem like luck maybe was a little factor in terms of flag spawning, but it didn't seem to have a major impact because they just kind of roamed around everywhere and just committed players when they could.
I think you're definitely right about untraditional gameplay. I mean, both teams were caught off guard by each other's over-aggressive behavior, and there was a lot of compensation and undercompensation going on. But ultimately, I think there's something to be said for keeping your head in the game. Tully was A+ at the end, and that's when it matters. I mean, for a lot of these top-level teams, it's really kind of a matter of course in these games where you make the mistakes early on, and you just over a matter of process and experience, you kind of rattle them out towards the end. And then at the end of the match, when it comes down to it, you just have no mistakes left, and that's exactly what Tully did at the end there.
Yeah, as you say, they just pounced on the opportunity. We saw some incredible plays coming out there. Anchor getting his quadruple kill with a pike. Razor in the final stages there getting a triple kill as well. Who, out of curiosity, obviously, as viewers want to know some of the intricate details, who do you think maybe was the MVP for House Tully there? I mean, we saw a lot of incredible plays.
For me, the MVP for Tully. Let's see. I think it's a toss-up. I've got 2 players actually. It's between his name is escaping me. LaRue on the first map, just very conscientious of everything going on around him. He rarely got hit by Cav. He was awake the entire time. And then probably Scar on this map. He was just kind of leading everything that was going on for the infantry side of things. Rhodok, it's very hard to do because you're getting shot at constantly. You have very small windows, and he really just dominated that.
Yeah, definitely. And we did see, as you say, maybe the players that weren't getting, all the fancy, flashy triple and quadruple kills, keeping their head down and maintaining focus and staying alive. Perhaps they deserve the MVP as opposed to, some flashy plays, which is what we want to see. So on Unity side, who do you think maybe led the way in that regard, maintaining focus and staying alive, or maybe flashy kills as well? Who would be your MVP?
I think the obvious one for me is Thor. That was some pretty incredible maneuvering as cavalry. That's not what I know him as. I know him as an infantry, and it's not uncommon for a lot of these guys to just you play all 3 classes at an A+ level. That's completely normal. But Thor really keeping everything in the bag, and he really did clutch that on the flag on the first map. It was just a really quick cleanup.
Yeah, and so a lot less convincing of a win for House Tully there. Maybe not as clean and as professional as they would like. Unity definitely having a more convincing win in week 2. Perhaps many different factors affected that. The early stages, the momentum that they had from the previous week, maybe players available, all sorts of things. But this was a much messier, a lot less disciplined, and just raw skill sort of fight. And House Tully just edging out over Unity. I mean, very marginal. I think you could have had this game again tomorrow and it would have been a different result. So very interesting to see maybe how these teams fare up against each other later, because I have no doubt that they will meet again later on in the tournament. And again, it's just the rivalry now building up between these two. It's definitely a grudge match.
It's great to have the back and forth. I think once the factions kind of loosen up a bit, these are pretty rigid Rhodok Vaegirs. Once they loosen up a little bit and maybe throw in something like Serenade, you'll see some more aggressive cavalry players. There weren't too many of those because the factions didn't really allow it, but those guys can wake up once the factions allow them.
Definitely, and I think we'll look forward to their future contest and see how they get towards the later stages of the tournament, because these are two very high-profile teams, and I have no doubt that they will make it very far. And we just can't wait to see their next bout. Really great to stream this match. It was a very entertaining match. Thank you so much to the two teams, House Tully and Unity, for performing so well, putting on a great spectacle for us as streamers and viewers as well. Thank you to the referees who have been involved in all the matches as well. This is just our little shout-out segment that we normally do. So thanks to them. Thanks to Deafening as well. He's been doing this job for a long, long time. And again, I can't shout enough praise for this guy. He just does all the behind-the-scenes stuff that just people don't even realise, and it's just very complicated. So I just want to thank him a lot. Also want to thank the overseers. We have like a manager that helps us out behind the scenes, and he just gets all the nifty admin little details done. So thanks to Ross for that. Thank you for Calamity for heading up this project as well. Awesome job by him. He's just carrying on and persisting through. So thanks a bunch to him as well. And PBK, I can't forget you, dude. Thank you so much for joining me today, dude. I really enjoyed it, and it was just great to have you, and your insight as well was very valuable. So I'd love to have you again. So thanks so much, man.
This was great to commentate with you, Victor. Absolutely fantastic calling. The man behind the curtain, Deafening, can't thank you enough. This is kind of a thankless thing. Big shout out to everybody at Bladecast, and thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, definitely as well. Final shout out to you viewers as well for tuning in and making this a spectacle worth watching. And a final shout out to our admins and referees, Deacon, Scar, Aaron Wynn. Thank you to putting on this great tournament, because without them, we wouldn't have teams signing up and performing these great matches. So, yeah, great thanks to them. And we can't forget the sponsors who provide the tournament servers as well, CCC and Lord Metzger. Always, I constantly see their names pop up every single time, and I think people just forget. I think it's just so routine now that they just donate servers, that if they weren't there, we wouldn't have tournaments anymore. So thanks so much to those as well. And I think that's all the shout outs we have today. So if you're all done, PBK, we're going to wrap up the stream. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. And hopefully tune into the next stream. Good night.
Killer match. Thanks for watching, guys.